Well, Professor Chidi Odinkalu joins us now. He's the chairman, National Human Rights Commission. Thank you for coming on this morning. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me. Good morning.
As a matter of fact, when it was said that Mr. Chimi had petitioned the Human Rights Commission, there was a certain expectation. But when the Human Rights Commission released their preliminary report, and then she in turn responded, and there were lots of questions and confusion, saying, oh, wait a minute, the report that were published, I think her statement, part of it read that it was too sensitive, it could damage her integrity, and then there were questions concerning the authenticity or validity of that human rights report, preliminary one that was released on against her. But she's been following all of this. What actually transpired? What's going on?
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me, and good morning. It's a fancy place you guys have got here.
Thank you.
Yes, there is a complaint in the terms that you've disclosed by the complainant that you've talked about with the commission at the moment. It's going through processing. There's been a team from the commission that went to Enugu, which was led by our executive secretary. And the team met with several actors, including the complainant and the respondent, as well as members of their families. We have not actually released an interim report. What went out, and this is part of the problem with relying on the whether it's social media or any other platforms for this. We do not yet have an interim report because there are processes within the commission for releasing an interim report. What went out was a media statement from our executive secretary. And in the circumstances, I think I did a statement last week and saying I believe I back him. I think it was the right thing to do because there was a feverish speculation about the case, and I think it was important that somebody took steps to try and put some material in the public domain. Whether or not the scope of the statement should have been as far as it was is another matter. But in the circumstance, I think it was proper to put something out in the public domain.
What if it did more damage than good?
Well, I said whether or not the statement should have been as robust as it was in terms of its content is a different matter. But I do think it was proper in the circumstance that something was put out in the public domain to contain the festering speculation about what was happening or what was not happening. And let me also clarify this. I think I should say this because I think in the context it's important. At the commission, we do get, at the moment, we've got a portfolio of close to 30,000 cases.
30,000 cases?
Yes. Okay?
Wow.
And somewhere in the region of about 30% of the cases we get are domestic incidents. Spousal situations, situations with children, but in the family context.
Which is under your purview?
Which the Constitution grants a right to private and family life. Now, so it is certainly within our purview. And so there's been a great deal of talk about this particular case. Because it's, this is the lives of people in the public domain. But it's also in a situation in which some of the assets as allegations are being made about the use or non-use of security assets, of assets paid for by the taxpayers, as human assets paid for by the Nigerian taxpayer. So there are issues here that are beyond the normal realm of domestic situations, but which nevertheless are not too far away from what we generally see in the run-of-the-mill cases in the commission. And I don't want to, therefore, spend too much time trying to over-glamorize this case. Our remit at the commission, at least while I'm still there, is to normalize the way we do things. Because in this country, I think we've normalized abnormality. And so got into a situation in which different people believe they are beyond the rules, beyond the law, and we need to give them special customized treatments, and I refuse to do that.
You also talked about confidentiality of people, of parties, when it has to do with issues such as this. But again, this one has gone viral, that, well, the Commission has to speak. And when that particular report came out, first they said, well, the NHRC has said, well, something that has to do with her health status, which finally the Commission went further to say, well, they never said anything such as that. In a case like this, because when we spoke to Malaki Bumade a moment ago, we're trying to see how, well, legal minds or even the Commission can come in. Now, in this kind of case, how can it be handled if someone has said, well, his or her rights have been violated, and now you had the privilege of even paying a visit to Enugu State, getting to meet all parties involved? What do you make out of it, knowing full well that the Constitution also gives the family its own rights to handle its own affair? Do we still call this a family affair now that we have someone who's cried out that such rights have been violated?
Look, you know, Malaki is my brother. You know, we go back a long way, and I wish in this situation I had some of the luxuries that he has. Sadly, I don't. My late maternal grandfather always told, he was a local chief, and he was always consistent about one thing. He said, every story has three sides, at least three sides. One side, the other side, and the truth. And he would hold my ear and say, my son, don't ever rely on one side, because when you ever do that, you will never be able to get to the truth. Now, I cannot rely on media reports for what I can say in this case, and I cannot dwell on facts that I don't know. All I know is those who come to the Commission while I'm still there have to be assured that they will be treated fairly, professionally, and that we will do it in accordance with law, in accordance with the facts and evidence we have, and in accordance with our conscience. And that we will not think of any Nigerian too big or any Nigerian so small that they're either beyond the law or beneath it. That is what this is about. Now, the situation with domestic incidents has been probably the most troubling to us, because in this country we accommodate them, we tolerate them, we explain them, we have every reason to justify them, and so at the last council meeting, you know, if you're looking for what the Commission is going to do about this, you have to wait until our next meeting. We've called a meeting of the Council of the Commission for the 9th and 10th of December. At that meeting, we will examine these issues. We may have a hearing if necessary. If we're going to have a hearing, we're going to be issuing hearing notices to the parties. But at the end of that meeting, Council will take a view of the matter. And at that point, you will have the report of the Commission properly so called. But as I said, I was quite clear in my statement. We did not at any point send a medical team to Enugu. The brief that we gave to the team that went to Enugu did not include any medical thing.
Because I was going to ask.
Our team to Enugu did not go talking about medical situations. And it's not within our brief to go doing medical things.
But so